Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Not RV. On this week's episode, we're going to go ahead and get our new Starlink mounted using the FlagPole Buddy system onto our ladder rack and see what kind of problems I run into during this install. Remember, if you want to learn more and make less mistakes while RVing, be sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like and a comment down below. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Now I know there's probably 100 different videos of people doing this exact same install. FlagPole Buddy is a great system from every review that I found, which is why I selected it. And I talked to a few people that own it personally, and they say they like it. So I just wanted to give a perspective from my point of view of what issues I might run into with the install, how many feet of pole I ordered, as well as the fact that I travel with our portable gray tank on the ladder and how that affects the mounting. I really have no idea until we get into the install, so let's just get right to it. Let me just start off by showing you kind of what we have. Obviously we have the Starlink, it just came in yesterday. So we got the satellite here. Now we're not going to be using the base plate or anything like that. All we have is the dish and the router. I ordered 3 4-foot sections of the FlagPole Buddy, and then of course the Starlink mount for the FlagPole Buddy. And then you have all the mounting hardware for the FlagPole Buddy. So let's just go ahead and bust this open. Okay, so we have the bottom mounting piece where the FlagPole Buddy sits into. We have a couple of the sections that are going to hold what I assume everything to the ladder, as well as the top upper section that it will hold the top of the pole. And then of course all your different mounting screws and the big thumb screw that is for the bottom here. So it also has pretty decent parts list and instructions. This just shows what the Starlink adapter is and what it does. It's pretty self-explanatory, just clips in. There's a pretty good detailed list here of how everything clamps in together. So we're gonna go ahead and just start by getting the bottom piece in. It talks about it being 5 feet from the ground. So we're gonna go ahead and find that mark on the ladder, and I'm gonna double check again because I have my gray tank. I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna mock my gray tank up there, and just see where it is and where it might interfere with anything. If I need to push this off at an angle or what, we will see. So the FlagPole Buddy does a great job with sending you everything. All the pieces, like on the back here, the nuts that go into it are recessed in, so they just will be held in by the mounting bracket itself, so you don't need an extra wrench there. They send you an Allen wrench for the actual main machine stainless screws, and it's pretty self-explanatory. Now it says it should be 5 feet off the ground for the base one. But to me, I'm pretty confident, all they want that for is because that's the average height that most people will be able to reach and mount in the bottom. I'm actually gonna just go a little bit higher, in this 5'6" area. I'm 6 foot. So we're just gonna go right around this section right here and get this bottom piece mounted on. So now what I'm doing right now is I'm doing this cross pattern tightening because this does get sucked up all the way around the ladder nice and tight. Initially, it doesn't look like it will because it looks like, oh, maybe the ladder is just a little bit too big, but it's not. It's the right size. It fits nice and tight. So I'm just doing a little half turn on that one, a little half turn up here. And again, these are just plastic mounts. Now they are a very thick plastic mount. They look very, very, very heavy duty. But obviously you don't want to just go crazy and tighten one piece up and all of a sudden you snapped your other side. That would really suck. This is not something, actually I don't know if it's on Amazon or not. I bought this right from the website, flagpolebuddy.com. And actually I do think there is versions of it on Amazon. Just maybe not the version that I was trying to buy with the Starlink mount. So I bought directly from them, but I'll put links in the description below to where you can get this. Okay, that's all she wrote. That is tight. That thing is not going anywhere. And that is super, super, super tight how they how they did that. So now we got to get the upper mount up top, which goes on the exact same way. It just has a different end piece. And all I did for this end piece was I used my impact to get it tight. Now, of course, with this impact, I could easily over tighten and snap something. So I was real nice and careful. And actually, just for fun, I'm going to go ahead and pop this on here and take a wrench to it. Hand tighten this the rest of the way. If I can get this wrench on here nice and tight. So now that thing is super, super secure, super tight. Let's go ahead and get up top and get our top mount going up there. I'm not gonna record doing that top mount because number one, you're really not gonna be able to see much because I'm way up high. Number two, it goes on the exact same way as this lower mount. So, see you in a second. All right, I have the upper mount loosely mounted up there. I can easily turn it and manipulate it just like I did at the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and get a couple pieces of pole put together and put it up there and just make sure everything lines up properly before I tighten it down. Well, that looks pretty good just as is. I'm gonna go ahead and pop up there and get this all tightened up. Now that the top mount is done, we're gonna go ahead and get our Starlink clicked onto the end of the FlagPole Buddy Starlink adapter. Bam, I literally just clicks directly into place. I'm gonna walk this pole nice and slow, maintaining good contact on it because I do not want this thing going anywhere. And let's go ahead and get it into the FlagPole Buddy system. All right, where's my staples button? That was easy. I mean, very, very simple. So I got the cord here. Let's go ahead and get this run up to the router and plug it in, see what happens. All right, so the way I'm choosing to run this cable is just right through my wet bay here, bam. And then right now I'm just gonna temporarily just have it through here. And now it gets plugged into the Starlink router, like so. And now we can go ahead and get the Starlink router plug. And I'm just gonna set this down here for now. Shouldn't really need to do much with it. I'm gonna eventually figure out a better, more permanent mounting situation for it down here. But this is where I'm gonna store the Starlink and the FlagPole Buddy in between use and whatnot. So I got a plug just on the other side. I'm just gonna feed this up here for now. Let's go around the other side. Okay, now here on the other side, I have quite a bit of a mess right now because we're getting ready to leave. But my goal for today was to get this up and running and then to reorganize and pack. So I'm gonna plug the Starlink router in. Hopefully nothing blows up. And that's it. Now I got the Starlink plugged in. I'm gonna go ahead and hop into the app and do my initial setup. I'm gonna go ahead and screen record that so you can see what happens and what I gotta do, because right now I have no idea. So let's hop into the app. Once you're inside, you gotta go ahead and connect on your regular Wi-Fi. And the Starlink says to create a network. So we're gonna go ahead and name this network Why Not RV Starlink. So let's get that typed in. And then I'm also gonna type in my password, which I'm not gonna show you guys that part, and see what comes next. Once you create your new network and password, you got to go ahead and connect in your regular settings to it. But once you're connected and you got your password typed in, you can open the Starlink app, and this is what comes up. And so initially it shows it as offline while it is booting, but let's skip ahead and see what comes up after that. You can see that it moved to basically a flat, perfectly horizontal position. So it did something, but right now in the app it just says offline and booting. I've seen a couple of people talk about how it can take like 15 to 20 minutes for it to boot up its initial time. So I'm just gonna let it go. I'm gonna keep screen recording and report back when it's done. About 15 minutes later, it finally went from offline to online. It just was searching for a long time on the initial setup. And so we're now online. So let's go ahead and do a speed test. All right, we're in my speed test app, and let's go ahead and get this thing running and see what we can pull down. Holy crap. My AT&T router pulls like 6 to 8 megabytes where I'm at, on some good days, maybe 18 to 20, but oh my gosh, almost 200 download and the upload isn't that great. Still not bad though, not too shabby. And keep in mind, right now I'm in Clearwater, Florida at the time of this, so very densely populated area. Very surprised to get this kind of performance there. I decided to run another test right behind it just to see, and it's past 200. We're getting 242. Oh my gosh. And just for comparison, let's go ahead and get my AT&T internet going and see what kind of download speeds we get with that. Yikes. Oh my gosh. This is horrible. Now, don't get me wrong, I've had better speeds with this, 8 to 10, like I said, is pretty average. It is midday, it's noon, it's a weekend, so there's probably a lot of people on the internet right now bogging it down, but that's just incomparable. All right, so to take this thing down, it should be pretty simple. I have the thumb screw back here on the back side, so I got it loose. We pop it up, of course, maintain very good grip on it, and out she comes just like that. Bam. Now I can lower it down, rest it on the e-bike, and call it a day. So that's pretty much it. The Starlink is mounted up there now. You can see it way up there. Right there. Obviously you saw some of the test results. They're a little bit all over the place. I am in an extremely densely populated area. We are in the most densely populated county in the state of Florida. There's way too many people here, which is why we sold the house and we are getting out of here. We actually leave tomorrow on the road. So while this so far has just been an initial install, how to kind of what I did, what problems I ran into, which were pretty minimal. This thing is not meant for these densely populated areas. It's meant to be way out in the boonies where there's typically no cell signal, and that's where it really shines. But even so, right now, because of how densely populated we are, you see that the cell signal is just horrible because there's just so many people on the network, and it just bogs it down. So, and it's sporadic. I mean, different times of day, it gets way worse than other times, that whole thing. But I'm excited to see how it's working in this extremely densely populated area so well. I can't wait to get it out on some Harvest Host locations and be using it out while we're boondocking. But also, the other thing is, I'm not getting rid of my other internet, okay? I have my Nomad internet, which is a completely unlimited data plan. I absolutely love it. And it is on 24/7. I have hardwired in there, everything like that. So like my security cameras and stuff like that, that's all on there. So that's on there 24/7. Now with the Starlink, what I'm probably gonna use it for is actually like the TVs. Depending on the upload speed, maybe some of my YouTube videos to upload, you see that depending on where you're at, I can just pull up my little speed test, check how the Starlink is doing for download and upload, and check how my Nomad internet is doing for download and upload, and choose what's appropriate for what I'm using it for. But super excited about this. We're gonna go ahead and cut off here, but I am gonna do a little add-on at the end of the video as to maybe a few weeks of use, at least 1 or 2, so stay tuned. I know I said I would do a follow-up video in just a few weeks, but it's actually been almost a few months now. And I've absolutely loved everything about it, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys a little modification I made to the mount situation. As you can see, the Starlink is not up right now. We are at a Harvest Host location, but we're in a decent sized city. The Nomad internet is working fine. I don't need the Starlink for just an overnight stay. Now, if we were here for like a week, yeah, I'd pop it up because it's probably gonna get way better speeds, but I'm not gonna put it up just for an overnight stay if my regular Nomad internet is working fine. Now, another thing just to bring up, since this has been a few months now since I've done the initial install, is how Starlink has changed and added different things, okay? So when I first got Starlink, it did not have the portability feature, and now the new RV style feature, or whatever RV plan. So initially they came out with portability, which basically said, Starlink said, okay, you are allowed to move from location to location and update it, and it was like an extra, I think $25 a month, and you were good to go with that. So I did that. So, you know, I'm paying $135 a month. Great, all is well. And then like 2 weeks later, they come out with the RV plan, which is just like the best thing ever, because it is literally to the point where you can turn off and on your service as you're using it. So if I'm not using it for a day or two, no, I'm not gonna go in there in the app and turn off my service and turn it back on. However, if we're on the road and it's on, great. But when we're back home and we're parked and I'm not using the Starlink, I can go ahead and turn my service off and I'm not getting billed a single dollar. You hold on to your equipment, and when you get back out on the road again and you start using it again, you turn it back on and you start getting billed again. Super, super awesome that they came out with that. Now, I will say that, again, you can either sign up initially for an RV plan, or like me, I started out with the residential plan, added the portability, and then what I did is I switched to the RV plan. But once you switch to an RV plan, you are not allowed to switch back to a residential plan. And the whole thing is just because of the fact that you can turn off and on your service for billing, which is an amazing, amazing feature that they came out with. And I'm just over the moon ecstatic about that. I'm very excited that, you know, you don't have to pay all year round, because that's something that no other company really does that I know of. So let me show you what I did to the FlagPole Buddy just to make it a little bit easier for me. On this lower mount, I used to have it mounted right here, and this gray tank would basically sit up against it, and it was very difficult to get it in and out on the side over here. So I basically just moved the mount to this pole here. It's basically the same height, only an extra 2 inches up, no big deal. And then up at the top, I did a similar thing where I just took the piece that was up on the top bar and I moved it to another one of these cross member support bars. That way it's nice and even and lines up, and it pops right in. That's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, drop a comment, all that fun stuff. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching Why Not RV. Bye.